and thank you for the time and attention today to address student fear at XYZ University events with controversial speakers. Now, the facts of the issue include highlighting how many college campuses are indeed dealing with the fear students experience when it does come to controversial speakers. So, ensuring a safe and respectful learning environment, that should be the primary focus and what I wanted to highlight today for the university administration at XYZ. So, too many students at XYZ University, they feel unsafe and fearful during events with controversial speakers. So at XYZ University, excuse me, many students feel unsafe during events with controversial speakers, as I mentioned. And a 2024 survey revealed that 58% of students felt unsafe. And in comparison to a national survey that showed 15% felt physically unsafe. And therefore, three policy options were proposed to address this. We're going to take a look at enhancing security personnel, focusing on counseling support centers, and also increasing designated safe spaces. So we'll take a look at those three. And to start, let's take a look at the evidence that supports the need for this particular change. And I would like to address the Knights Foundation completed a report in 2024, and this report highlighted the complexity of free speech on college campuses and revealed that 70% of students believe speech can be as damaging as physical violence, and 44% felt uncomfortable due to speech about sexual orientation, race, gender, or religion. At XYZ University, we conducted a 2024 survey and found that 58% of students feel unsafe during events with controversial speakers, and a higher percentage, this happens to be a higher percentage than the national average of just 15%, who felt physically unsafe. So both the Knight Foundation and XYZ University need to emphasize the challenges of balancing free speech and student safety. Now, again, evidence. We're looking at evidence that supports the need for this change. So another um, survey that was conducted by the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or FIRE for short, that survey was conducted on free speech at colleges, and it involved close to 60,000 students from approximately 250 schools. Now, the survey found that students strongly opposed controversial speakers on topics such as transgender issues and also Black Lives Matter. Now, at XYZ University, 48% of students felt unsupported by the administration as it pertains to controversial speakers, mirroring the national trends. So, this highlights the need to address student fear, their feelings of unsafety, and also a lack of administrative support. So, the alternatives to be considered. The first policy option is to enhance the effectiveness and the expertise of security personnel, definitely to ensure that campus safety occurs during those events with controversial speakers. And the second option I would like to highlight, that was a focus on the counseling support system. and how to measure the impact on student engagement of services that are sought by those experiencing the difficulty that comes with controversial speakers. And that final option involves increasing the number of designated safe spaces for students who are feeling, that fear and that lack of safety during those events. So there was a benefit to evaluating the advantages as well as the disadvantages of each policy option that will provide some greater insight into addressing the issue. So again, looking at the alternatives considered. So let's take a look at security personnel. What would be the advantage of increasing security personnel? Well, definitely to ensure student safety. Also manage crowds and minimize disruptions at events with controversial speakers. The security personnel, they can coordinate with local police, and that would allow for quick emergency responses and also provide reassurance to students. So the presence can definitely encourage student participation as well as increase the attendance to these different events with controversial speakers. Now, looking at some of the disadvantages for hiring security personnel, it definitely can be costly to the university. And the presence of security personnel may increase things like tension or cause anxiety or intimidation among the students. And then staffing, that could be a challenge that could arise, and that would ultimately impact other campus duties as well. But when we take a look at the counseling centers, of course, an advantage would be to provide mental health support to students. It would also assist with managing stress, anxiety, and fear in healthier ways that could have a positive impact on student academic performance. But the disadvantages could include any stigma. Sometimes there's stigma attached to counseling services or mental health support services that students will receive. And this ultimately could create a barrier. This barrier would definitely create resistance for students who would actually seek out I'm sorry, support. So definitely creating a barrier of hindrance for students who need to seek support, and as well as limit the ability to address all mental health needs for students. So that holistic approach. Now, safe spaces advantages can definitely offer a refuge for students who need to manage that stress during those times that controversial speakers are present, but also promote a network that students can build a network among other students, and sometimes that will definitely help release or relieve some of those feelings of anxiety and fear when you have that peer support. And then when you look at disadvantages, safe spaces can definitely limit the exposure to viewpoints that are diverse or controversial, and they can also be costly to the university. So the final recommendation is to increase security personnel, and a cost analysis determined that increasing security personnel, it could increase their response times, that can lower the risk of incidents among students, and that will result in an overall safer campus environment. And when you look at the yearly salary for security personnel, it is approximately 50,000. And then if you add 5,000 for the necessary training, this definitely could be a financial loss. But despite that, hiring additional security personnel would improve student safety. So the analysis also found that the annual cost per attending student is about $25. This ultimately would lead to increased student satisfaction by attending the meetings, and this would definitely meet some of those attendance goals that were set forth by XYZ University, and ultimately thereby it would increase student engagement. So overall, a safer campus environment can lead to higher student satisfaction, retention rates, and increased enrollment and revenue. So I would like to extend another thank you, Mr. Provost, for your time and for your attention concerning this particular issue. Thank you so much.